You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Protester has phone stolen while live streaming. MSNBC anchor chased off by gunfire. Fox reporter in Ferguson attacked. Camera stolen. I mean, you got demonstrators being robbed by thugs. It's just a free-for-all of criminal scumdom meant to demonize the First Amendment. That's why they're being protected. Will they let it go 2 or 3 nights? Let the rioting go through Thanksgiving before the feds do something? There'll be no investigation of who was in charge. There'll be no investigation of why it's allowed to get out of hand. Our reporters will be investigating, though, and that's why they better watch it once the police move. Because the police are being nice to the reporters now, only because that's their orders in this phase of the PSYOP. As soon as they're ready to move, they'll start attacking reporters again, I predict. Ken in South Carolina, thanks for holding. You're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, Alex. Really glad that you've had the foresight to use the money that we give you as supporters to send Jakari and Joe out there on the front lines, because we don't have to listen to the lies of CNN and the Fox. We can analyze the raw footage ourselves as it happens.
Well, thank you, sir. That's our goal. That's why we have the sponsors. That's why we have the products, is so we can build good studios, so we can dress nice, so we can send out good investigative journalists, so we can try to bring you live 6-hour feeds so you can make a decision. Thank you. Go ahead.
And that's the thing. For the folks that weren't watching, because I watched the whole thing live, I really appreciate Joe and Jakari getting that footage the way they did. I want to point out first, let's get this out of the way, Alex. As you know, if George Zimmerman had to defend himself in court with his own personal resources in a case where the law enforcement did not want to charge him, this officer, right or wrong, could have been charged by the state, guilty or not, and gone through the process and kept everything transparent, and this could have been de-escalated. Number two, as a fire chief, arson is a difficult thing. You can't just torch a building in 5 minutes. And when Jakari and Joe were down the block, when they left the main scene, they went down the block when the building was on fire. Those firefighters cutting the doors were trying to breach ahead of the fire. So even they were surprised at the rate at which that fire was going through that building, and they thought they could get ahead of it, but they didn't. That was a major, for folks that didn't see, we're talking about a huge warehouse building, and unless they insulated with paper, I don't see how that building went quite as fast as it did. The fire department pre-planned, so they would have known if there was something hazmat. And if it was a matchstick house, they would have stayed outside. They wouldn't have been breaching, making entry. The officers have to be defended. The line officers pulled those men out because the police department refused to give them support and defense. And those firefighters would lay down their lives for their community. So the firefighters are not to be blamed, and those officers aren't, because they're responsible for every firefighter under their command, and they know those guys would not have backed off. But
that's right. I should have gone to you earlier, and I want to hold you over. Do this. I want to come back at the start of the next segment and have you start over, because I saw on screen, Ken, quote, firefighter. Are you currently a firefighter, or are you saying you're a fire chief?
I was a fire chief, I was a firefighter, and I was a South Carolina Fire Academy certified instructor for interior firefighting. I have over 500, if not 700 calls under my belt, over 13 years combined service in the fire service, and I did carry a badge and gun in South Carolina for a short period as an LEO.
Sure. Well, I want to come back from break then and pick your brain, if you watched hours of the live footage, to tell us, as an expert, your perspective on what you saw. Because I'm here just trying to brainstorm with the public, brainstorm with my reporters, try to figure out exactly what's happening. I see Obama clearly in control of the guard, having them stand down, having the announcement at 8 o'clock at night, the perfect time, having the police stand down. This looks like a premeditated operation. Stay there. Don't hang up. I'm going to come right back to you, Ken, so you can give us your take on what you saw, and if you think we're getting it right here on air straight ahead, or where we're getting it wrong. Come right back to you, Ken, in South Carolina, former fire chief, to get your take on that, and police officer. And then we'll go to Rick and then we'll go to Dan and James and Chris and others, and then it's your chance to call in. Toll-free number is 800-259-9231. Because if it is a PSYOP, which it clearly is, what's the big end game? That's the next shoe to drop.
When you're out on the road, the last place you want to be is on the road. But if the unfortunate happens, you'll be glad you were wearing diamond gussets.
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you'll love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
We turn jeans inside out. Diamond gusset jeans. Made in the USA with unparalleled quality. Our Defender motorcycle jeans combine gusset comfort with Kevlar protection, so you can ride all day with confidence. Order yours at gusset.com. Diamond gusset jeans got it, others don't.
The experts are clear. Sunlight, purified water, healthy non-GMO food, and having a good attitude is essential to a healthy immune system. But I go further with Super Nascent Iodine X2 from InfoWarsLife.com. 50% stronger than our original and revolutionary Nascent Iodine formula, coming from a deep earth crystal source that no other supplier has. Most other forms of iodine come from seaweed in areas plagued by Fukushima and other contaminants. Not our iodine. It comes from over 200-million-year-old crystal salt deposits and is tested and proven to be completely pure. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today. See the informational videos. Read the information they're compiled. And for a limited time, when you use promo code NOW at checkout, you get an additional 5% off the entire family of InfoWarsLife.com products. Secure your Survival Shield X2 today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. For all of recorded history, civilizations around the world praised the health benefits of silver. At InfoWars Life, our mission is to bring you the highest quality, purest, cleanest, effective colloidal silver on the market today for the lowest price available. You don't have to be a doctor to know. The fall and winter months are the most dangerous time of year in North America when it comes to you and your family's health. InfoWarsLife.com is very excited to announce our biggest run yet of Silver Bullet colloidal silver, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, InfoWarsLife.com has taken colloidal silver to the next level using a cutting-edge technique that is free of toxic artificial additives. Now more than ever, it's important to stock up on high-quality Silver Bullet from InfoWarsLife.com and to help others during Christmas by teaching them about the powerful benefits of silver. Secure your Silver Bullet today at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. You have the power. Humanity has the power. We have the power. Do you want to fight? You better believe you got one.
Rallying patriots worldwide in defense of human liberty. It's Alex Jones.
We've got open phones throughout this hour. And I've asked police officers, firefighters, you name it, to call in and give us your take on the live stream feeds that we and others have had, the coverage you've seen on mainstream media. We had upwards of 200,000 people at any one time logged in to our two different streams last night. And that's a lot for alternative media. I mean, I'm on commercial AM and FM stations. You could even kind of call that mainstream media or old school alternative media. But to be trailblazing with hundreds of thousands of live streaming viewers really challenges the old media because they can't just show you little clips and then try to spin it. You can see for yourself what really went on and what happened. Certainly, we took the hours of footage we have and condensed some of it down to, I don't want to call it highlights because it's pretty scary stuff, but the absolute chaos. You know, Joe Biggs had embedded reporters with him in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they got written about in Esquire and in Rolling Stone, you name it, because Biggs happened to see a lot of heavy combat. He got blown up twice in armored vehicles. He got shot up several times. He was in some of the biggest Taliban battles that there were in Afghanistan. that went on for days in some cases. And he said this was more bizarre because it was just so stupid. The shooting in all directions and people burning things down and protesters robbing protesters because they're not really protesters. Some of them obviously are criminals piggybacking on this. But what type of criminal shoots at firefighters trying to put people's houses out in a black neighborhood? I mean, they burned down mainly black businesses. There's an article out reporting on this. Most businesses destroyed were minority owned. Breitbart reports, and it goes over a listing of them. And then they burned down like Mexican food restaurants and cleaners owned by black people. I mean, let's just burn this cleaners down here. That'd be like, God forbid, let's say a bad cop shot one of my kids for no reason. I would civilly sue them. I would go after them. I would speak about it. And if justice wasn't done, well, I'd have to think about it at that point. But it would be that cop, not all the cops, or not a Mexican food restaurant, or here, let me take my baby to a protest. Again, folks are taught that this is how they protest because it makes you pathetic in the world's eyes. Instead of being politically involved, the establishment doesn't mess with people that are politically involved and are middle class. I don't care what color you are, because they know you're trouble. You know how to get stuff done. They don't mess with somebody in a sports jacket with a suit and tie that pulls up in a Mercedes-Benz. And I'm not saying you're not successful if you don't pull up in a Mercedes-Benz. The point is the system pays attention to that. And they know you're not a wounded gazelle. Even if you're looking at the system as purely predatory, the system has predatory sectors in it, veins in it, and there's an attempt to make the system predatory across the board. That's globalism. That's tyranny. But that's from the top down. We need to politically target the progenitors, the kingpins, the mafia dons, the globalists that are setting the social engineering system. Not firefighters, not police officers, not a black church got set on fire. Biggs is going to go over and get some footage of that. I mean, what is going on here? What culture has been created where we see this thug life garbage? And by the way, they've got it in white culture where it's more of like a end of the world, I don't care about anybody, hurt myself, hurt others, almost satanic stuff going on. This is happening in the youth. It's being pushed in the culture. And it's part of the societal sickness. Now, I'm going to shut up and go to Ken and others. Ken called in earlier, but we went to break, so I want him to recap. He's been a police officer. He's also 13 years as a firefighter and a police chief, a fire chief. And he's moved on to other lines of work now. But he was breaking down what he saw in our live streams and some of the HD footage of where the firefighters are getting shot at and get ordered to be pulled out. And bullets are literally bouncing off of the armored vehicles and hitting the fire trucks. Just like we saw in 1992 in L.A., people shooting at the fire trucks. And we had 2 officers that were shot last night, you name it. When this will only create massive enmity now in the community, massive distrust, massive problems. And the larger question is, why did Obama order a stand down of the National Guard when the governor had said they would be energetic and aggressive? Why did the police stand down? That will elicit a much bigger response tonight and will be the green light for this to show up in other parts of the country, in my humble view. Now, we'll get Ken's take as an expert, a firefighter, a former fire chief, and who's also a police officer. Ken, tell me what you think of our coverage so far, then give us your perspectives on what you saw. And it sounded like you were hinting that footage you saw that we put out where they're trying to get ahead of the fire and block it, but that it was moving so quickly. Were you hinting at the fact that these arsonists look like they have sophisticated training, or what were you getting at?
Yes, I'm hitting. Let's for credibility's sake, let me clarify now. I was law enforcement. I was a security officer. We get police training, and we're sworn law enforcement for the state. I was not a regular police officer, though I was a beat cop on the accounts. I had to do police work.
Sure, I understand. You had just said you carried a badge and gun, and you were talking about being a firefighter. But just getting that out of the way, go ahead.
The footage has been great. Initially, I want to point out that those officers, when the first shots were fired, which probably were an agent provocateur, when Joe and Jakari were right there at the police station. Those officers started backing down, and I posted, watch out because they're backing down to play the victim here.